Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here in Arlington, Virginia, where we are at DRS Technologies headquarters in the United States, or we should say Leonardo DRS. And we have with us Bill Lynn, who is the president and CEO of now the newly renamed Leonardo DRS. Sir, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Vago.
And in full disclosure, DRS is one of our sponsors. One of the things I want to ask you, obviously, the T-100, the TX trainer contract is one of the biggest programs that's in competition. Obviously, it's an Air Force priority to replace the T-38 aircraft. You guys were teamed with Raytheon on that bid, just as Lockheed has been teamed with KAI and Boeing has teamed with Saab. There are international participation here on all of them. But the partnership with Raytheon fell apart, and you guys are pursuing it. What can you tell us about why that fell apart? And also then talk about your bid and the merits of your aircraft compared with those of the competitors.
Well, Vago, I think we're excited to be bidding this with the Leonardo Aircraft Division, our sister division at Leonardo. We think we have a great opportunity to win this competition, to provide the Air Force a trainer that's already been proven. It already has the ground-based training system that the Air Force is looking to acquire, and we think that now teaming with DRS, we're going to be able to have the leanest cost structure and give the U.S. Air Force the most cost-effective proposal as well as the best aircraft.
Do you think that in an atmosphere where the president has been very, very direct about buy American and America first, does that it potentially hurts you not to have sort of that big American prime as your partner in pursuing something like this?
As you noted at the outset, Vago, the source of the technology of all three of the main competitors is as some foreign sourcing. Our aircraft is going to be an American aircraft. We're going to build it here. We'll announce the site in the next couple of weeks. We have an American manufacturer, Honeywell, as the engine manufacturer. We're teamed with CAE in Florida for the ground-based training system. So this will be an American product.
And do you is the sense that you guys are sort of the lowest risk? I mean, is that what are the ways you guys are going to be pitching this in what is going? It is a very, very intense competition.
It is a very intense competition. The Air Force has some good choices here. We think we're the best because we have a proven trainer. It's sold dozens around the world. We've won when we've gone head-to-head against the competition. We've won 4 out of 5 times, and we think we'll be the most cost-effective.
You, throughout your career, have been an advocate of globalized defense industrial base, that if there are good ideas around the world, that they should be embraced. What are, and there are some who are concerned about sort of a buy American. Obviously, Senator McCain has been very passionate opponent of that kind of thinking. What are the potential pitfalls, and how do you position yourself as an American company, but also with an Italian parent, and the whole idea was for the company to be a conduit? Is there a potential challenge here in that strategy for you guys?
What I've always talked about, Vago, is that we need a global approach to pulling technology into the U.S., and this is a perfect example. As I said, all 3 sources of the technology are foreign-sourced here. So if we didn't have those foreign sources of technology, we wouldn't be getting the best technology. That doesn't mean there aren't American jobs. It means it is going to be produced in the United States. There are going to be thousands of American jobs that come from this. So foreign technology is producing American jobs and giving the U.S. military the best technology to maintain its edge going into the next century.
From an investment case, you guys continue to, obviously invest in the United States. There were some financial challenges. You guys have surmounted that. You announced the acquisition of Daylight Solutions. Talk to us a little bit about why that acquisition is so important to you and why you guys made it.
Well, as you know, Vago, we've turned the company around the last couple of years. We've had mid-single-digit organic growth, probably about double the market, so we feel like organically we're now in a very strong position in terms of growth. And on that foundation, we're now starting to look at acquisitions. The first that we've done is Daylight Solutions. It's a laser company. It strengthens our electro-optical infrared area in terms of targeting aircraft survivability. And so we think that combination of organic growth and strategic acquisitions is going to place us very well going forward to continue that growth in the future.
You guys are also partnered with Boeing in terms of we were just down in AFA Orlando where the big reveal was of the joint aircraft. Are we going to see more kind of partnership transactions like that from you guys as you try to position? That's an Augusta Westland airplane that was very successful. You guys are obviously bidding against a number of other companies, Sikorsky being one of them. Obviously, Bell Helicopter is interested in it. Airbus has expressed interest in it. Are we going to see more kinds of partnerships like that with you and other guys, or are you going to seek just to do it on your own as you did with the T-100?
Both. We are looking in every case what's the most effective way to compete with the Huey replacement. We think teaming with Boeing with the proven product of the AW139 is absolutely the best way to go. It's going to give us a very effective replacement for the Air Force's Hueys. In terms of the T-100, we think teaming DRS and Leonardo aircraft gives you that lean cost structure. The way this RFP is set up, it's heavily focused on total evaluated price. We think that positions us best to bring this proven aircraft in at the best total evaluated price.
Where do you see the company in 5 years, and what are going to be some of the key strategic markets where you're going to see or you're anticipating to see the best growth?
Well, I think what you'll see is, one, I think you're going to see Leonardo integrating further in North America. They've integrated more in Italy. They've moved from a holding company model with several operating companies into a single integrated corporation. We're moving in that same direction here in North America as well as the United Kingdom. In terms of markets, we've identified a half a dozen or so major markets that we think, electro-optical infrared I mentioned, naval electronics, ground network computing, naval power, are we think all key markets for Leonardo DRS going forward.
As you look at the budgetary environment that we're in, obviously you served as Deputy Defense Secretary, you were Comptroller before that, you were PAE before that, you served on the Hill for a long time as a senior staffer. As you look at this budgetary environment, how do you view this? Because, obviously the president is calling for $54 billion more in spending, but there's a lack of clarity whether or not that includes migration of stuff that's now in the OCO, for example, which could obviously reduce the, it may sound really good unless you're moving $30 billion from OCO, into the base budget, for example. What's the kind of growth that you see in this environment? Is it going to be as robust as some people think, or is this going to be, should it have a more tempered expectation, you think, given some of the political dynamics we're going to be seeing and the fact that the Budget Control Act is still law and it doesn't really look like 7 Democrats are really interested in changing that?
Well, I actually think the most important point you made is the last one. I think more important than the numbers at this point is can we find a way to repeal the Budget Control Act, get out from under that sequester. I think that what that produces is not so much low numbers. We've found 1- and 2-year deals to adjust the numbers. Is it produces instability in the DoD budget planning, and that instability then migrates into industry, which it's hard to invest R&D if you don't know what platforms are going to be purchased, what electronics, what upgrades, where exactly the department's going. So in my mind, the most important accomplishment for the new administration would be to succeed in getting that BCA repealed.
And how hopeful are you that the BCA will be repealed?
Well, as you said, it's tough. I mean, on the other hand, I think there are majorities in both houses of Congress that would like to see it repealed. I think the White House would like to see it repealed. The challenge is to find a way a way of repealing it that maintains those majorities. There's an advantage in now that the White House and the Congress are being held by the same party. That gives you a little bit more leverage than President Obama had. I'm hopeful that they'll succeed.
And do you think that we'll ever reach what John McCain would like to see for the budget and Mac Thornberry, which is a real high watermark in terms of spending that they'd like to see? Do you think that that's achievable, or is that maybe a step too far?
I don't know what the numbers are going to be if you get the BCA repealed, but I'm quite confident you will see growth. I mean, actually, President Obama proposed growth. President Trump is proposing a bit more. So I think the market is rising. How much, I think, is going to depend on the politics of repealing the BCA and how this sorts out over the next several months.
And let me just follow up on something that I'd asked earlier. Did your partnership with Raytheon, that developed over a long period of time, was that a financial break? What was the cause of sort of the parting you guys had? Because there was an expectation that we'd see you guys together and going after that.
I mean, you'd have to talk to Raytheon. I mean, they decided, as did Northrop at the same time, to pull out. I assume it had to do with the focus on costs, and it was hard to get to that price. We think we're going to be able to get to the price to win that we need to with the team we have.
I want to take you quickly back to two things, though, that we talked about. And one is, getting back to the competition. Each one of these other guys have, a big American partner on it, right? So, so much so, in fact, that the Boeing guys even dropped Saab from it in the models that were down in Orlando, whereas, Lockheed was very prominent under it. There was Korea Aerospace, obviously, for the T-50 that they're pushing. What's your view about the competition? I mean, is that something that from the letter of the competition could end up impacting you guys negatively?
No, I don't think so, Vago. The way the competition's set up is it's very straightforward. They're going to evaluate the price. They're going to adjust it modestly for risk and for performance. And in the end, it's going to be the numbers rule, not the nameplates.
So you think that you guys, that this is going to be, as long as you can hit the performance metrics, the cost is what's going to carry this over the finish line?
One, we've already hit the performance metrics. We know we have an aircraft that meets the requirements of the U.S. Air Force, and if we get the best price, we're going to win this.
And let me take you to one last question. DRS Technologies is an American company. Obviously, it's something that, then Finmechanic and now Leonardo bought. Do you think that in this environment there's any liability whatsoever to being a foreign-owned company in the United States doing business?
No, I think we're moving to a globalization of the defense industry. Just this competition alone, it's all foreign-sourced technology. They're going to be American jobs. We're going to produce this in the U.S., but it's a global view of the defense industry, a global view of the technology, and I think that's going to be the way that we get the best technology to our warfighters in the future.
Bill, thanks very, very much, and best of luck in the competition and integrating the acquisition.
Thanks again, Vago.